Let's go ahead and make this phone call real quick. See if we can connect with Michael Harrison.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon. Mr. Michael Harrison, please.
Yes, sir. This is he.
Yeah, Mike, this is the IRS calling. And I understand you got a brand new... Come on, man. At least let me finish, man. You start laughing at me before I even finish. At least, I understand you
I
got
had to ring that dial song.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. And yourself?
Man, if you have to ask me, I must be slipping. You know that, right? All right. Well, as I said before, I got a lot of phone calls and I got some emails. I got some responses and recommendations from a few people concerning this characterized, looks like a comic book that we just placed on our broadcast network site just last night. And believe it or not, somebody called me on it today just to ask me what is it that this particular publication is all about. And I went on to I went on to tell them the story about Tyrus and and how Tyrus referred me to reach out and connect with you. But no one can explain the real deal of this publication better than you. God made all things great. Again, God made all things great. I want you to do me a favor, if you don't mind, Mike, man. First and foremost, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Michael David Harrison, and I'm a children's book author, former educator where I was a teacher, administrator, and principal. 16 years in the school system, but I took a leap of faith to pursue a new dream of being a children's book author in Virginia.
Wow. So you're classified as a children's book author, okay? Now,
Yes, sir.
The unique thing about this particular book is the characters. I want you to dive in just a little bit and explain just a little bit more in detail what this particular publication that we're talking about, God made all things great. I want you to tell me a little bit about this particular publication, and I want you to get as deep as the characters in this publication. Can you do that for me?
Most definitely. So I have two main characters who are brother and sister, Alexis and Jalen. Mm-hmm. And how I came up with the names is Alexis is actually named after my younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen, I did a Facebook poll survey to find out a popular name, and Jalen was the most popular one. So that's how the names came about. But I particularly wanted to have characters that reflect us, that look like us, not characters or animal figures or, something of high quality that could really, look like somebody related to somebody in your family,
Right.
And because when I did my research, I found out that there was not that many Christian-based children's books for kids of color.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well,
so that's what sparked the whole character development.
And that's what amazes me. I was looking at a book that my granddaughter, she constantly looks at. And she's only 3 years old, so she's not really reading, but she's always flumming through the book looking at the characters. Now, it's amazing that you mentioned characters because it's one thing that she can remember, recall, point out, direct, and she can correct you on if you're not careful. The characters. Doc McStuffins. I want to go see Doc McStuffins. I'm like, wait a minute, who is that? And she will point it out to me. Is this it? No. Well, no, Pawpaw, that's not it. So people recognize the characters in books and publications, even in video footage. Now, I know this is an amazing thing, and I know that you and Tyrus have connected. Am I saying his name right, Tyrus? Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Cyrus Gaucher.
Yeah, because I don't want him to
Chicago.
I don't want him to call me later, man, and say, "Man, you know what? I appreciate you mentioning my name and all, but you wasn't saying it right." Okay, so so God made all things great. Of course, we initiated the fact that you are a children's book author. You focus on the characters and the validity of the characters, which is how they represent themselves and whom they represent. Tell us a little bit about how the storyline concept came about.
So I'd always wanted to write a book, a children's book, and I never really had the time to do it. And I was going through a very dark and difficult season as I was transitioning out of the principalship.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of came to me that no matter what you're going through, God still made all things great.
Wow.
And he made no mistakes about it.
Right.
So that was kind of like the impetus.
Wow.
And so no better way of starting, with that than going back to the creation story.
Yeah. And that's so true. I'm amazed over, really over what you've done. And of course, now is this actually your first publication, your first release, or is there more previous to this, or more yet to come?
It's more yet to come. This is my first one.
Wow, how well has it been doing?
I envision building a series of books, for kids of color, and so of course you have to start somewhere. So I figured I'll start with God Made All Things Great.
Wow, and you did say there's more to come. So. I know that you have a huge future in what you're doing, especially as long as you're pretty much connected with Tyrus, because Tyrus is a great guy. Now, I want you to break down your relationship with him and how did it that you two came about to begin this process of Tyrus being the illustrator of your publication.
It's actually interesting you say that. The more I think about it, the more I realize it was very God, because I had written the script and I was sort of shopping around for illustrators and kind of looking at different books and seeing, some of the artwork from the various illustrators. And there was one illustrator in particular that I really was like, oh yeah, this is the guy I want. But could never reach him, could never get into contact with him. Wow. And then I later would find out that he was very, very expensive.
Wow.
And so I just so happened to stumble across a book that Tyrus had illustrated. And the characters, going back to the characters, just drew me in.
Wow.
Immediately I said, oh no, this is the guy. This is who I need to illustrate my book.
Right.
And believe it or not, I found out his name, and then I sent him a message on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he responded, which I was surprised, and the rest is history.
You know what? It's amazing how the simple things come to play when, a lot of things that we're seeking a lot of times are really right there in our face. We'll begin to try to take control of a situation and we'll really almost bypass or overlook our blessing.
Absolutely.
I'm like I said, I keep going back to the word amazed because it's ironic that you said that. I accidentally ran into Tyrus information on Facebook, but I knew nothing about him. I enjoyed what I had physically seen and viewed, but I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. I guess you say I didn't take advantage of the opportunity to try and reach out to him. What I did was I began to have a conversation, not about him, but just in general, to a young man by the name of Pastor Corey Ratliff. Well,
okay.
One thing led to another. The conversation kept going forth, and he had asked me, he said, have you ever heard of this young man? Because I do a lot of promotional things for Corey. He said, have you ever heard of this young man? I'm like, no, not really, because I really didn't put two and two together. I didn't put what I had viewed and the name that he was speaking of. I said, no, not really. He said, but then he went on to explain to me what he did. And then I got a little excited. I said, you know what? I was just looking at some information the other day, Corey, about that same concept. a young man or I thought it was a team. I said a team of people who's putting together these books for children that are based on African American characters. And I did my research, and to God be the glory, it was the exact same person that he had mentioned in our conversation. He said, oh my God. He told me to reach out to him. I reached out to him. Now, let me rewind the tape and press play. He said, I have someone who I know needs to and is going to be in the situation that you're talking to me about right now with your worldwide global media ministry and broadcast network. His name is Michael Harrison. He broke that thing down, man, like you would not believe, and said, no matter what I think, do, say, or feel, Michael Harrison is going to be a part of allowing us to expose what it is that he does. And, and he made the call. I heard him typing. Man, that man can type on a computer. I heard him back there. I'm like, man, are you typing? He said, yeah, I'm typing. I'm trying to communicate with Mike right now. I'm like, wow. But he connected with you, man, and here we are. Here we are today talking about, again, God made all things great. Awesome. Now, I do also understand, Mike, that this is not just, I guess you could say, this is not just something that you do to expose the opportunity that you want to sell books. There's a serious backbone and root behind what it is or why it is you do what you do. Why don't you break that down? Break that down a little bit for our viewers and listeners this afternoon.
So one thing I noticed from my experience as a principal is that a lot of kids nowadays lack self-esteem, and they lack the confidence, and the knowing that I don't need to do drugs to fit in. I don't need to be promiscuous. I don't need to join a gang. I can be complete and be me, and love me and accept me for simply who I am. And so the concept was to create not just a regular old children's book, but something that could reinforce those values of high self-esteem and knowing that God made me great. He did not make any mistakes because he made me great. And with that, he imparted greatness within me. And so, as an adult, we try to find that greatness that's going to bring God glory.
Yeah, that's
right. And so I wanted to create a book that reminded kids, that God made them great and that there's greatness within.
Right. Wow. Man, that's amazing. And you know what? I'm getting a little, don't take this person. Well, you know what? Take it personally. That's wrong. But I'm getting a little emotional. Because your purpose for what it is that you do has a huge meaning to our children that are yet to come.
Yeah.
And if you have any sincere feelings, any sincere hope for our children and our children's children, you understand that we need more of this type of thing. I'm looking at right now, believe it or not, I'm looking at trying to incorporate a children's broadcast possibility so they can come in and expose themselves as children so they can be children. And allow people to understand that this is what we can do if we just stay on track to try to keep ourselves in an encouraging and in positive mindset, that this is what we can do for a living. I'm trying to bring in children. I've worked with schools, and I can go on forever. But, man, I tell you, man, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to take a quick break. I want to show a quick snippet of our friend Tyrus and kind of what he does. And then when we return, what I would like to do is I would like for you to break down how people can purchase a copy of your current publication, your freshman project, where you can be reached, whether you can be reached on social media, website, email, phone number. I'd like for you to share that information with our viewers and listeners as well. man, and we want to continue to allow this information, this opportunity to be a possibility to all people that can hear and or see this particular conversation that you and I are having right now here on the GMAP Broadcast Network. Is that all right?
Yeah, most definitely.
Man, I love it when you say that. All right, this is what we're going to do. We'll be back in a few right here on the #1 faith-based, motivational, and inspirational broadcast network in the country, the GMAP Broadcast Network, GMAP1.com. Also sending a shout out to all, and I literally mean that from the bottom of our heart, all of our network sponsors, partners, affiliates, and friends. I want you guys to sit tight, stay close. I'm going to show you a snippet of some of the things that our friend, the young man that we have been talking about since we've been on the phone, our friend Tyrus. Now, the name of Tyrus Illustration Company is what exactly, Michael? Can you help me out with that?
Yes, it's To Go Sketch Illustration.
To Go, is that right?
Actually, I believe it's T-GO Sketch Illustration.
Because I see it, I'm looking at it, and it's also on our network site, but I want to make sure that I say it correctly. All right. To Go Sketch Illustrations is what it is. I see what it is now. All right. So, listen, I'll be back. I'm going to show you this quick snippet of some work, some production work that our friend Tyrus has done that brought this whole concept that Michael Harrison has put together with this awesome publication, God Made All Things Great. I want you guys to sit tight. I'll be back right after this quick snippet right here on the GMAP Broadcast Network. Take a look at this. Wait a minute now, from off air, now you were just telling me that you have a soundtrack that goes with the book?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Man, come on, man. Come on, man, stop playing. Come on, man.
I'll share it with you, send it to you now.
You got a soundtrack that goes with the book.
What's your email?
My email is GMAP1 at live.com. So you're trying to now, how long is the soundtrack? How long is it?
Well, it's 3 tracks. One is the narration of the story.
Uh-huh.
The other one is a sing-along that I wrote, which is about 4 minutes.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up on me. You're breaking up on me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. There's a sing-along, which is about 4 minutes, 30 seconds, a narration to the story, and then there's the instrumental.
Wow. Oh, so I
just sent it to you. Did you get it?
I don't know. I haven't checked my email yet, but I'm about to go check it right now. You do know I'm gonna do something with this, right? You realize that, don't you?
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
Because I'm fired up now because I'm sitting here wondering how I'm going to put it all together. Can you do me the favor, man, of making sure I get a copy of your current publication?
Sure. What's your? Let me send you the. Let me see if I can pull up because I can send you an electronic copy of the.
Okay. Because I have plans, and I needed something to make my day since my Bears lost today. I needed some. I needed some.
You need to pick me up.
Yeah, man. I need some encouragement, man. I was hoping we might be able to pull that thing out. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have Michael Harrison, children's book author, here on the line with us here today on the GMAP Broadcast Network. And, I'm honored, I'm privileged, I'm blessed to be able. I'm going to go and try to grab this this soundtrack that comes along with this current publication, his freshman project. But in the meantime, Mike, this is what I want you to do, man. If you don't mind, why don't you go ahead and share with our viewers and listeners how they can reach out to you, whether it's through email, social media, website, phone number, whatever the case may be, man. Share that information, and then make sure you share the information on how they can receive a copy of the book also. Hold on one second. Let me make sure this is working. Okay, can you do that for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I am on Facebook. My name, Michael David Harrison, on Facebook, or you can reach me on Instagram. That's Michael, Michael, wrote, WROTE, it. Michael wrote it. That's Michael wrote it on Instagram. Again, that's Michael, WROTEIT. And then that same Michael wrote it is my website at www.michael, wrote, WROTEIT.com, michaelwrote.com. Wow. They can reach me there.
Man, I'm just super excited that you have made a decision. I'm trying to pull up the soundtrack here real quick. I'm facing some small, minor technical issues. So if your system for some reason kind of froze up for a minute, just refresh it, because that's me pushing the wrong buttons. I just want you, want you, you guys to know that. But man, I just can't thank you enough for joining us here on today, so we can reach out and be a blessing to God's people. By all means, I'm going to pull the soundtrack up and make sure that we share that information with people around the world as well. I just can't wait, man. I'm just super, 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 super excited. In the meantime, man, we appreciate your time today. I'll call you back because I see that I pushed the wrong button and it's causing some problems. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure I give you a call back, man. But I thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, go out and pick up your copy of God Made All Things Great. And the author is Michael Harrison. He is the book author. Make sure you pick up a copy of this, because I believe in my spirit that it is definitely going to be a blessing to many, many, many that are yet to come. God bless you, Mike, man. I appreciate you so much for joining us today, man. I'm going to pull up this soundtrack and work on why it is that I pushed the wrong button and made my system do what it does. But I'll call you back a little later, man, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon.
God bless.